Hello everyone! Welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney. This is VDiffuser. In our last episode, we found out that our next door neighbor isn't quite who they seem. They're not a revolutionary, that's for sure. They're actually a runaway prima ballerina. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes, what? And they're very, very good at changing really quickly. Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once. Please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave, now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out! Passenger said out, or you want me to throw you out? Looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. Oh wow. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for quite a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, "Don't even think about it." Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh yes, he's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. Alrighty. Time to move. Looks like they're still investigating here. Yes, on that subject. I wonder if Inspector Hosenag is unscathed. What do you mean, unscathed? Well, he did say he was gonna lay his life on the line. He was gonna talk to the captain about it. Said he'd lay his life on the line for you. You might have some new information for us. Holy crap, what happened to you? You look like you got the tar beaten out of you. Ah, you're back. Inspector? What happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Scratches? Nothing. Those bruises. Ouch! Made by a bear, maybe. When I told the captain I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. Looks like he wasn't joking when he'd say lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little more about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh! I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Sholmes. I don't think he was German, though. Oh god, we need more jokes at his expense. That explains it. Shall we compare notes, then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the next cabin next door? Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Get yourself checked out, man, please. Tuberculosis is not a laughing matter. I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case at least. Oh, how? Because angels don't go around committing crimes. Have you met Dahlia Hawthorne? No, you haven't, because she's not around yet, but... Let's see, Dahlia Hawthorne, April May, Eenie Miney, and that goes without saying of Alita Tiala. Oh, now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. There is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. What? It's this. The Burgia medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report? Kazuma-sama. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in that report. That's the back. His neck was broken? Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So first, I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. Strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It's a possibility, and no obvious wound could be left. Poor Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If I might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? The post-mortem report has been entered. Sholmes was here, was he? Yes. He seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Actually, now that you mention it, yes, just one thing, but he practically shouted it. "It's shoe polish!" was all he said. Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, but by the piece of broken glass, do you see? Perhaps he was talking about this piece. Yes, that must be it. But how can Mr. Sholmes know it's shoe polish? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I've no idea. What is it, Susato-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red, then? Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. This mean that this mark was made by the polish in Kazuma's shoes. That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewman's eyes are boring into the back of my head. That might be for the best, thank you. And get that cough checked out. Oh no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke this morning. You too? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. Alright. Dr. Naruto-san, Seaman Stroganov has gone. Strong enough? The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us. All these Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. Do you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la, lira-la-lay. I did it the great detective way. Oh God, who else would it be? Let's get inside Miss Mafalova's cabin while we can and investigate. Before that stringy knot crewman comes back. Stroganov, not stringy knot. Mr. Sholmes, look! Well, you never know where he's gonna turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. Tra-la-la, lira-la-lay, I did it the great detective way. Or he's simply in extremely high spirits. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky her luck was about. Excuse me. I solved it all, and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes! Ah! What is it? You want to fight? Hmm? Hmm? Someone Photoshop this into Punch-Out. Please. Please. Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing. And I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never gonna stop, so I figured now's as good a time as any. I nearly dropped to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away? Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah yes, that. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh yes, the ship's log. Did you find out anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there is nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted. What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman often stands sentry in the first-class passageway, and is an almost religious practice of reporting nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes? Nothing to report. Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. You mean... Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night, which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. Alright. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. You're starting to understand what my way is. I see. What makes Sholmes, Sholmes. Brilliance. Aha! Ha ha ha! Ha 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 ha! Ha! Oh! Ouch. I bit my tongue. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Okay, that's 4 people. That is too much to be a coincidence. Well, my friends, until our next encounter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off by the passage. Is something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just... well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. Rinosuke's had it, you've had it, the frigging Hosonaga had it, and frigging Holmes has it. That is 5 people that has it. In we go. Oh, the trunk's open. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Susato-san? Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can. I suppose you're right, for Kazuma's sake. Not just for Kazuma-sama. What do you mean? It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Alright. First thing. The bell. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin, too. You're gonna give us away, you know. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. Naruto-san, are you there? Sorry, I'm right here, yes. Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. For Narnia! Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. Ah yes, they're displayed in this cabin too. Look, the rules of passage. Wonder where her friend has disappeared to. Probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh yes, so do I. Those toppled over too. In Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase? I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away? I don't think so. Not everything bad that happens on the ship is because of me, you know. And he wasn't even in this room. This one's not broken, though. And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop seawater coming in. Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard. Now, back. Back. Oh, I can't do that there. That's true. I wonder what kind of books she likes to read. Let me see. Yes, I see. But see, Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian. You don't say. Thanks. I think I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruto-san. Kindly remember that. What a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Maybe it's so that if there's gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. That's a possibility. Where's the emergency alarm? Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile fore. Full stop. Hard to starboard. All hands brace for impact. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? I can't stand. Hold on to me. Are you injured? I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruto-san. We're gonna get into some good trouble. Looks like we avoided a collision. I think. My goodness, what about you? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. The door's locked, though. Is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Sounds like Inspector Hosonaga. Is that in you? Unbolt the door, quickly. The bolt. Look at that! The door's bolted. Did you do that, Susato-san? Well, when the ship makes an emergency stop, the door bolts. And all the things she put back up are just like they were before again. Aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? I'd better tidy this place up first. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way, but I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. Alrighty. Biff's gonna be pissed. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. You! What are you doing at Miss Pavlova's quarters? Are you both looking hurt? Good. Yeah, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. How did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought we saw a ship ahead. The person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos! Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Hey! You wicked intruder! Dressed all in black! You're the devil! Hey, don't go around with that. Sorry, me. I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came to your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man? Da! And he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Take him away. He's a trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You're devil. Doesn't look good, does it? There is cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. A cell? These Inspector Hosonagas, there's nothing you can do. This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I gotta find a solution. Immediately. Alright, where is he? What are you doing hanging up from there? What the? My sentiments exactly. What are you doing up there? And you're wearing the tiara. Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective it is my business to know what other people do not? And you're doing that with your deer stalker. This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. This is advanced tomfoolery. Well, why were you hanging from the nook then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it could bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I don't even. What? What? Wow. Just wow. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. My sentiments exactly. You again, great detective. Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak. An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Burya, has been solved. By me, naturally. Huh? What? Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. Indubitably. Forsooth. Zvari. So let me illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Greatly. Take that tiara off. Ah, you have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is his stowaway. He has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin was bolted shut from inside. That means the criminal must be someone who is inside the cabin. Yes, it's what is called a locked room mystery in detective stories. I've already been through one of those in Danganronpa. I already know what a locked room mystery is. Ah! Locked room! That's his point. The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. What the... Oh, shit. Hang on, one moment. Hello, sorry about that. One of my pieces of clothes ripped. Anyway, back we go. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn out from outside the cabin. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin, despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The Ventilator Man! Ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean? Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? I can hear a faint whistling sound. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is a speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? This isn't Punch-Out. There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! What the? Shouldn't you be concerned? It's more striped than speckled. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The Striped Band. A snake? Indubitably. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It's more stripy, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the Striped Band, wouldn't you? Hehehe. You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap in which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No. She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi? Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I should advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Next time.